just picked up this 2012 B8 Audi S4, and I already got straight to the launches with the 034 Motorsport Stage 1 93 tune. This thing digs hard and does about 0 to 60 in 3.8 to 3.9 seconds with the Stage 1 93 tune, but that's not enough. So today we're going to be installing the high pressure fuel pump piston upgrade from 034. I'm also going to go ahead and couple up this install of the high pressure fuel pump piston upgrade from 034 with some new spark plugs from Brisk. Just to clarify some things, I think this install is going to be pretty straightforward. I've never done it before. It is obviously my first time. High pressure fuel pumps right here. I'm also doing spark plugs later, like I mentioned, so we're going to go ahead and take off the intake and the coolant reservoir too, because that would be a good idea. So we need to take this off, get that off, so we have plenty of room to do the spark plugs, get the coil packs off, and then I'm also going to take care of the piston upgrade at the same time. So getting that intake off was actually fairly simple. It was just this 8mm right here. Came right on off. Now we have plenty of access here to work on this. Now I've got a pair of vice grips on this fuel feed line, as you can see right there, right to the left of the high pressure fuel pump. I'm going to be careful in removing this because there still is pressure. Oh, I didn't really pour out that much. I believe this second feed line is going to be more pressurized, but it's an 18, and that's what I'm working off right now. Yeah, so I thought. So it looks like I need some sort of weird XZN socket to take out the 2 bolts that hold together the high pressure fuel pump housing. I obviously don't have that. It's way too late, so everything is closed. We're gonna have to pick this up tomorrow, but in the meantime, we can still do these spark plugs, so let's get that done. I actually got 2 T20 Torx bits to take out the coil packs, and it's pretty straightforward. This is one of the more difficult parts, but you can basically take a pick and shove it in between the red part of the coil pack, like that, and the black part, and then if you push it correctly, it'll make a clicking noise and pop, just like that. So now that that's done, this entire thing is just gonna drop down and we can disconnect it. A lot of people recommend that you use flathead screwdrivers, but I like the pry tool. It makes it easier to pop out the coil pack. So you kind of just wedge it under and push up. So once you do that, you do have to fight it a little bit, but then your entire coil pack will pop out, and this is what it looks like. So these are actually in good condition. I looked at these before, I'm not gonna lie. So I'm not gonna pretend like I didn't. I'm gonna keep it a buck, but I already looked at all of these before just to do some inspection. Then I'm gonna take my 5/8 spark plug attachment or socket, whatever you wanna freaking call it, and we will take this spark plug out of this cylinder. Yeah, my OEM spark plugs are actually in good shape, so I mean, we can change them out for 1 step colder for more resistance to detonation, but otherwise, they're pretty good. I mean, I was detonating before, but that could have been due to bad quality gas in West Palm Beach, because I don't think it's too good right now. Here's what the new spark plug looks like, and 034 recommended a .026 gap. So I'm gonna check the gap on these, see what they come as, and actually the first one that I put in was already at .026, so straight from the manufacturer. But this is actually how you can check the gap, just if you're wondering. All right, so you take your little spark plug gap tool, like I have, and then you go to the desired measurement. So I said I want 0.26. We're gonna put that here. And yep, these are pre-gapped to 0.026. You can see my metal ring is going right in there between the electrode and the actual spark plug tip. That means this is perfect. We can throw this in the car as is. I'm gonna go ahead and take my spark plug, throw it back in the cylinder. What the heck? Definitely not supposed to fly in like that, Jesus Christ. But anyways, we're gonna repeat the same thing 4 more times now.
The next day.
Bottom bolt actually ended up coming out without a problem, but the top one is stripped, and I already tried to put a notch in it. That trick I learned from taking out my fuel rails with that stripped Allen key. But guess what, boys? That's not working, so I'm starting to get concerned here that I can't get this bolt out, because it is stripped, and I'm trying my best to get this thing out. I'm gonna keep trying. Oh Lord, this is a good feeling to finally get this out, because I struggled with the Dremel drilling out slots on that bolt until I could fit a big flathead. Even had to make a Home Depot run to make it possible, but it's finally coming out. This is what I was talking about. I just hit it with the Dremel until I could create a specific slot for a flathead to, sit in there. And that was hard, but worth it in the end, because now this is coming out. So this is the entire high pressure fuel pump assembly. Apparently I also need to inspect this little cam guide, roller, whatever you want to call it. It looks to be in good condition. I mean, it's slightly worn, but should do the job. So I'm gonna slide it back in there exactly how it was before. If it will go, it should just sit up in there. Yeah, perfect. And then now we need to take apart the high pressure fuel pump. I'm pretty sure I'm supposed to just like remove this spring. They were recommending a flathead in the instruction manual, but I don't really know. I just need to mess with it for a second so I can get it. Actually, if you just pull on it, it comes out. So I was very gentle with it, and now the entire thing came out. I do think we need to get this old piston out of the actual spring too. Then I went ahead and used the 034 supplied tool to get the bottom part out. So I also used the impact 24mm socket. Just made it easier after I laid it up in the vise. It removed this bottom part here. So that's what we needed to get out. And that's why they give you this tool, I guess. Supposedly I can just use a magnet to remove the upper sleeve. Maybe? No? Doesn't look like it wants to budge, fellas. Magnet obviously didn't work, but I just lifted it up with a set of pliers and it just topped right off. So if you can't get it with the magnet like I couldn't, get some pliers and you're all set. But I do think the magnet is gonna work for removing the lower sleeve, so that's what it looks like. We can drop in this new lower sleeve from 034, or 034, my bad. It drops right in. And as simple as that, we can drop in this new piston, so it should pretty much just slide in perfectly. Reinstall that retaining nut with the same exact tool that we used to take it off, so we're twisting clockwise this time instead of counterclockwise. That looks good to me. And then I think the last step is the spring, if I'm not mistaken. Let me go ahead and make sure that that spring is seated properly. So this is the same OEM spring, and then we can take our spring retainer bracket and get it on there too, which is gonna be annoying though. Yeah, yep. Don't remember how I got that one on. Ended up figuring it out. It was super simple. Just have to use a flathead to slide it over on top. So everything is seated properly now. We can throw the entire assembly back in the car and we should be good to go. If we do have a problem with this install, or if I made an error, I will most likely get a check engine light for low fuel pump pressure, so we'll know immediately. Got the housing orientated correctly with the cam roller as well, so you make sure that that's all together properly. And then now I have to tighten down the bolts, but since I stripped out one of those bolts, I'm gonna go to Audi tomorrow and get the proper replacement because we do need to torque it properly. There's a very high tension spring in there, so it needs to be torqued properly. I'm gonna ensure that I have a new bolt so we can hit that torque spec, so I gotta go to Audi to get a replacement bolt first thing, and then we'll be done. Don't forget going to the dealer because I was actually able to torque it to spec, which is 20 Newton meters. If you do the conversion, that's around 176 inch-pounds. I did it, so it torqued to spec, but God bless me if I ever have to take that bolt out again. So I'm just gonna reassemble everything. It's gonna be pretty straightforward. Same thing as the disassembly. It's pouring, but I'm gonna check everything for leaks right now, so there we go. Just the accessory mode. I struggled right there for a second. And then we'll do that like a few times. So I'm gonna put my hand down here. We would have gas gushing out anywhere if we did in fact have a leak. I'm not seeing any leaks, so I think we should be good to go. So no leaks so far. Let's go ahead and give it a start and make sure that we don't have any check engine lights. And I guess we'll see because we cleared all the faults a second ago. So if we drop fuel rail pressure, we'll know right now. I was reading some installation forums and they said that if you hear the high pressure fuel pump a little louder, it's normal after this install. If you hear excessive amounts, then you have a problem. And you especially know if you have a problem if you have a check engine light, because your fuel rail pressure or your high pressure fuel pump pressure will be completely off. Back everyone, I've done a ton of performance mods to the Audi S4 since I last recorded anything for this video. So we did the upgraded heat exchanger, I also did the dual pulley, and now we're gonna get it on E40. So we need to evacuate the tank of whatever 93 is in there, and we already got some awesome gains on 93 with the dual pulley, but we need to wake this car up even more. So we're gonna be using a siphon system. It's gonna be pretty simple. Let's get all the 93 out of here so we can switch to the E40 file. Almost full tank of 93 needs to be emptied out, and this car is screaming at me. It always loves to. You actually can't use the siphon because there are anti-siphon measures actually built within the fuel tank. So you can go here and pump all day, but that solid tube will never make it through the filter because it's kind of like a metal grate. So that eliminates that option, but that's not to fret. We also have an app that's really helpful. So it's called the E85 app or the E85 calculator. You click into it, enter all your information, such as your fuel capacity size, the size of the fuel tank, the current ethanol level, etc. And then you put on how much gas you have in there, and it'll tell you exactly how many gallons of the 85 you need to put in the car. So let's go to the gas station, pick up some E85. We need roughly 6.9 gallons or 7 gallons to get this thing to an E40 mix. Let's do it. Bad news. I was gonna go get some E40, but then I realized that my high pressure fuel pump was leaking because of this corrosion on the inner seal. So I took it all apart. Thankfully, my boy Nick, you guys know Nick, has a backup high pressure fuel pump. So let's go pick it up. I need to do an oil change, so that's what I'm doing right now because my freaking oil is full of fuel from the broken high pressure fuel pump.
A few moments later.
So I literally just got to Nick's, and this is his pump. So we're just gonna take this part from his pump because that's all that really needs to be replaced, and it should work. So we're trying to crack it off right now. This one on the right is Nick's that came off of his pump, which is sitting right there in the vise. And then this is mine, so you can see the difference in corrosion. There's none present on this one. Mine is completely shot, so I should be able to just screw this one on and be all good. How you properly dispose of the old seal. You weld it. Sheesh. Not too bad, but Nick is gonna one-up me. The Audi is officially fixed and ready to go. Now we can finally do the E40 tune after this trip. God.
This is what TikTok doesn't see. Ain't that right, Toby?
Bruh, you've never seen how cheap the 85 is?
Nah, man, this is cheap. Get one
So
handle only.
we need 7 gallons of E85 to make this work. That's what I'm putting in right now. Hopefully I drove off enough of the tank, but right across the way is a
Okay.
Did he leave?
No, he's still there.
Oh my god. Anthony, I promise you the second we get out of here, I'm gonna get pulled over, but we need 7 gallons, and hopefully they don't tow the car.
Anything for the dig, right?
Anything for the dig. We need to watch that. So we ended up with 6.9 gallons of E85. It should be okay though. If the car doesn't like it, it'll pull timing, so not a big deal. Bro, thank God that freaking cop dipped out. He just left. But now we can flash this and get on our way to doing what we were doing. I was really scared for a second. What the heck? Okay, I know why. That was so dumb. I didn't put it in drive. I'm nervous. Wow, we spun a lot. Let me run that back. Let me see if I can launch lower. Rip. But the tires should be warm this time. Launch at 2,000.
30. 60.
3.5. Let's go. Let's freaking go. That's what I wanted. We are good. No more for today. We need better tires. Let's go. Oh, yes, sir. So you guys saw it. I ended up running a 3.5 second 0 to 60, which is absolutely mental. I'm getting Hoosier VR2s with a 17-inch wheel very soon. I'm also doing a ported supercharger, so this car is only going to get quicker. My goal is to get it running like a mid-10 with methanol injection, ported supercharger, and some better wheels and tires. So that's going to do it for this video. If you all enjoyed it, please remember to comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.